me again. This is going to be the second video on this channel, and yeah, I kind of like given up on the other one. When this happened the last time, I kind of like I kept opening requests that they would like revise the suspension until like the channel was completely gone. It was like about a month in, but like this time around I'm kind of like, let me just like go already, because I don't know, I think it's pretty much the same case. I think I really figured out what happened, which is the thing that the channel was in the same email, and it's apparently like no regulation that they have, it cannot happen. So I don't think I'm gonna succeed. So I've kind of like given up, particularly because like things in my life, they're going very well. So in continuation with the medication I started taking, Peridol, I don't know what's the name in English, but I continue taking it, and it's continued to like work really well for me. I've been having some really good days of which my head is being really great, like really stable. I'm doing well, and I'm also able to do things, which is kind of like the most important. I am so close to finishing the novel, like the revision that I'm doing. I literally have like there's the last chapter that I already like looked over it a little bit, so like it's almost like ready, and there's the one I am at right now, like that's the one I'm struggling with. That's pretty much why I decided to come here and have a little moment, because I'm struggling, and I'm finally at a point where I'm able to identify like what's happening when I'm struggling, because for the longest time in my life, it was just like this mush of so many different situations that would be in the category of like, oh, I cannot do things. And right now I'm realizing like, oh yeah, it's not so much me, I'm doing fine, I can concentrate, I can focus. It's just that this particular chapter is demanding something from me. And I think that because the challenge, sometimes like you have to change something very drastically. It is kind of easy for you to start changing, because you have like very clear directives as to like what I have to change. This one in particular is just like really subtle things. Like I don't think things are flowing as well, like going from like a sentence to sentence, or from like a paragraph to the other. So it's just like very subtle things I have to do, but they're not really coming to me. Like some of them, they are like I've already been able to make some progress, but there's some things that just like it's not flowing, and I'm not really, it's not really in me right now for me to figure out like how to make things flow better. It is going to be kind of done eventually. Tomorrow is a holiday, so tomorrow like no work, no school, no anything, so I'll be able to focus the whole day on the novel. And so for sure I'm anticipating that like tomorrow I'm going to finish it, if I don't do it tomorrow, because as I said, I just have this chapter is like 4 pages long, and this is kind of like short compared to like some of the other chapters I've been working on. Like the last one I think is like around 10 pages, but that one, like as I said, like it's flowing so well. Like, so I've already read it, and like the changes I had to make were like really minor. It's just like sometimes changing the pronoun here and there, like, so sometimes you have like a name, and then there's a repetition of names, so you just add a pronoun instead of like a name and all of that. So like very basic shit. It was not really my final look. I think I'm waiting for me to get on this one, because there's like a certain continuity, because I had a chapter there was like the 4 last chapters, which is pretty much what I woke up I had to do today, and then chapter 1 and chapter 3, in this sequence, they were one of the continuation of the other, same way the chapter 2 and 4, they're continuation of each other, right? So I've already done with chapters 1 and 3. So I actually like I'm already done, like I'm in 2 right now, I'm already done with 3, and it was actually better, because I kind of like, since because 1 and 3, like they're literally a continuation much more than necessarily like 2 and 4 is like a sequence, things happen, and this thing we're here with, like, for example, different POVs, right? And then 1 and 3 is like kind of like the same. So I just I went from like 1 and 3 on sequence, and I'm done with them. So now I just have to finish 2, and then I'll go to 4. And as I said, like 4, I already skimmed through it, and it's already pretty good. So I'm almost there. I'm so fucking close, and the sensation, like this feeling is absolutely amazing, because I've been working on this novel for 8 years. Like I started, it was January 2016. So after 8 fucking years, I am finally, at the end. And the most exciting thing is not only that I'm finishing this novel, but I'll be able to continue the story, because there's so many stories I want to tell, and I mean, technically I'm like doing that, but like finishing, I have to end something so you can, officially get, something else. So that's been kind of like the vibe for me. So I'm really excited. I'm really happy with where I am at. I'm really happy with, so far so good. And this whole thing of like me doing really well, like me being like really stable mentally, is one of those things that like I don't want to, it could be a fluke, so I don't want to create too many expectations. But so far, like it's been well over a week, right? Yeah, because like it is Tuesday today, right? So it is since like last weekend, not the one that was before, yesterday. I've been seeing that I have been pretty stable. So it's been like a week of me being like this, and a fluke could be like a week, but it really just seemed that I'm entering a new stage of my life. And yeah, it's very exciting because it is like the change is mostly in the know-how. Basically, it's like in how I'm doing things, but me being able to actually conclude things and continue things, like it pretty much will allow me to just do whatever the fuck I want with my life. So very exciting. I'm really happy with where I am at and where I'm going. But yeah, so I think like that's the gist of it. So I'm currently at this chapter. I'm a little stuck, but so I decided to come here and just talk about it and go back, because as I said, everything else in my life is working so well right now, and everything goes through your head. So like naturally, if my head is doing well, if I'm good, everything's okay up here. Like everything else is going to work well. Of course, they're like external things. They happen and then they can shake you. But even those things, like when you're like your head is in a good place, you can deal with them better. So I am terrific. Things are terrific. Everything's terrific, and it's very exciting for me. I'm just happy. Like I'm excited just because things are going well, which is such a basic thing, but it's also great. Like if you can, motivate yourself just by things going well, like that's kind of like the key to success right there. Because we all need little things here and there too, so we can feel fulfilled and feel contentment in our lives. And yeah, of course there are things I want to do, places I want to get to, all of that stuff. But with my head in the right place, I can get there. And also like the other things, also figuring out like what is it that I want to do, because this has been, I have left so many things in my life as incognito so far, and I'm not trying to break them down right now. I'm not trying to figure anything out right now. Okay, I think my MO for the past few years has pretty much been like me trying things. As long as I'm trying something, it's okay for me to not be completely sure where I'm going, right, where I'm heading. Because naturally, like for example, thinking about stuff like college, like like you follow that path, so there is a concrete goal at the end. You're gonna get a diploma, gonna get a degree, and that is in itself kind of like an end of things. But I'm currently to college. I don't really know which I'm gonna go to. I mean, as a thing, I continue going with both until I figure out if there's one that I'm more inclined to do, because I thought that the one started would be kind of like all the rage for me. It would be very much my new thing, but I'm struggling. There's this drawing classes. I have 2 drawing classes per week. I have 5 classes per week, one each day, and 2 of them are drawings, and I am not a drawer. Naturally, it's just that I like my little doodles that I make, but like realistic drawings, like oh lord, that just sucks a piece out of me, out of my soul. It's kind of like I feel like I'm dying sometimes in those classes. But I know, like as far as like considering like everything I've gone through, like all the traumas I've had, like this is nothing. I think that's like would be a good way for me to look at the situation. Like think about all the worst things I've been through. Like this is nothing. But even like you could have like a little positive outcome situation, is that like I'm so used to being in such a good place that these things, they're pretty much nothing compared to like the worst things I've experienced in my life. Like they're pretty much the things they're like they're the things that are grinding my gears. So it just speaks a lot about me being able to overcome things that happen, and this overcoming things is like very important, and it's also kind of like the key for me to be doing so well right now, because like trauma was one of the things that really prevented me from fully living my life, being at my best. So everything is just coming together basically. So like medication is great, my treatments are great, like the EMDR therapy that I do, that's for trauma. We are like just getting better. And it's interesting because like I have therapy every week unless something happens, and I did have a session this week, and I was very much like, I don't know if I have anything to say, because last week I didn't really have anything to say. I had other things to say, but when we're doing like the stimulum, I didn't have nothing came up. But as I said, other things have to be talked about, and like this week I had, and it's because a lot of them were pretty much me re-signifying things. What I mean is that like there are things that I've already talked about, but they came to me again, because I was exploring like different emotions that happened, and also at the end I was really able to like look at those situations and be like, oh my god, there's no weight here anymore. You know, these things, they don't bring me any type of distress, any type of frustration, any type of guilt, any type of anything. I can just look at them, and that was not the case for the longest time. Even like smaller things for so long, like they really had a hold on me, you know. And sometimes it's just something really small, but like it's a small thing after small thing, and it really gets you frustrated at the end of the day, because there's just so many small things, kind of like, what is the thing to say, like that death by 1,000 cuts. So it's a little cut here and there, and then it really ends up leading to something bigger. And this, like, they're like increasingly less of like these smaller cuts, because they're all being kind of like dealt with. So yeah, it's a mix of that therapy, of like the regular, you know, not regular, you know, behavior cognitive therapy, and the medication, and, you know, other areas of my life. So for example, I had a physiotherapy session this week, and, you know, it was mostly because I was struggling, you know, with my main physician. I was because I was having issues, like, you know, with like exercising, and I was not exercising, like I was getting tired too quickly, and there's a plethora of things that involved that. Like my B12 was kind of low, I had put on some weight already, you know, losing it, and that kind of like changes, and I wasn't really exercising as much. So like now that I'm like, you know, I'm having my Zumba classes twice a week, plus, you know, I swim 2,000 times a week, that is just like going to kind of like automatically get me to a place where my physical conditioning is much better. But also, that said, like the B12, that we were taking care of it, so all the vitamins that I was like losing. So it's like a combination of things. So I had this physiotherapy session, and it was really important because physical therapy, yeah, I think it's what I call it in English, physical therapy. And it was mostly for, you know, for my breathing, and we did get like some important, you know, stuff out there. So for example, stuff had to do with my sleep. So I changed my pillow, because I had one of those NASA pillows that like they absorb the thing, and like those are not great, because if you're laying on your nose, like because your nose kind of like absorbs it, it can kind of like, you know, cover it. So basically I'm with like a different pillow right now, but I already slept better, you know, this evening, you know, last night. So it's already changed. Also, she taught me how to do a proper, you know, cleansing of your nose when you go to bed. And he's like, oh my god, it was awful, but you know, it's great. The results are great, but like the process of doing it, because you really have to inhale a lot of like saline, it's because he really has to get down there, and it was like a whole process. It felt like I was drowning, but I got used to it. But even like this is some of those things that you do. And then, because I have had issues with sleeping, particularly in terms of like my breathing, because sometimes, you know, I have allergic rhinitis, so like I have some you know, what do you call it, like some prerequisites, no, pre-existing conditions, and making it pretty kind of like hard for me. So we changed. Oh yeah, something already done is just like giving a bit of like a slope to your bed, so that, you know, your head is kind of like elevated. It cannot be too, you know, hard, too high. I've already had issues with that before, because then, you know, my neck starts hurting, and that's a whole other set of problems. But yeah, so this cleansing and you know, the change of the pillow, so it's like small things small changes that you make in your life, but they do lead to a better quality of life. So when I changed, you know, like the inclination of my bed, like as I had so many issues of like me waking up in the middle of the night because I couldn't breathe. So yeah, so like small things that you do, and you work with them like day by day. So, you know, I had like this session, this consultation, and it was like something, I'm not even going to, you know, return, because usually I have a consultation and then they schedule like an appointment, you know, for you to return and see what happens. But like mine is fine, so like I'm not even going to return. But, you know, like this change is already, they're gonna have like an impact, not only for me, for my dad too. I taught my dad how to do it. He has like this horrible coughing that he has, and sometimes it can be like has to do with like a lack of moisturization. So like this could help with that too. Also, like, you know, so speech therapist that I did, you know, like strengthening my tongue, that one I have to go back to. But even like this point is that the small things that you do, the changes that you make, they really do pile up and make you kind of like, you know, live better. And like these changes, these physical changes that we're making, like these physical things I'm doing, they're also part of like my well-being, because like if you can't sleep, you're not going to have the best quality of life. So the point is that like there's just so many, you know, things that have been culminating, and they're just going well for me to get to this point where I'm literally living the best time of my life. You know, like I am the best I've ever been. You know, it's interesting because I talk about this, I think maybe not the last video, but maybe in the last video of the previous channel, talking about how like I am, you know, like there should be so much, you know, like fanfare right now because of like how well I'm doing, but you know, it's just becoming a normal thing. Because I said, like, it might be a fluke, but I'm not creating expectations, but you know, it does seem with every new day that it's not really a fluke. You know, that I'm really there, I'm finally there at that point, and I'm living my best life. And yeah, so it feels like I just like this needs like this fanfare, But at the same time, like, it's good that it doesn't, because it means that it's normal. Because in the past, when I would have like a good day or a good week, it would be one of those things that I'll be like celebrating. And I don't stop celebrating like the good things that are happening, even like the small ones that I have to do just with my head. But you know, it's good that this becomes my normal. You know, I want this to become my new normal, and it does seem to be the way that we're headed at, and it's very exciting for me. So yeah, I think that's it. That's, I guess, the update on me, what's been going on. And one day after the other, for example, I had like swimming today, and I was, you know, sometimes you feel like you're taking one step forward, two steps back, because basically like, because yeah, it's really nice, my instructor, he basically, my swimming is not professional by any means, but even that, it's not like, oh, like super, it's not exactly what it should be. But you know, my instructor, he's really nice, and he doesn't really fix everything at the same time. So like every, you know, lesson that I have, every class, he's fixing something else. Sometimes when I'm trying to do like a new thing, I end up messing up the previous one. So at the end of the class today, I was like, I was seeing he was crawling, and I was like, that is bad. This is just like, I'm not, everything's bad. But it's also like the end of like the lesson. But the point is, I have to keep going, you have to continue, and sometimes like you have to just accept that maybe like you're tired, so like let's just regroup and, you know, try again tomorrow, which maybe what I have to do. You know, I'm gonna go there, gonna try again. If I can do it, I'm gonna go to bed, and tomorrow I try again, because I'm so close. And you know, I think that part of me might want to just, you know, try to crunch it, you know, like I'm so close, and I'm just, you know, force myself right now. But maybe what the best is for me to just go to bed and sleep and try again tomorrow. You know, after, it's sometimes good for you to give yourself some distance from like what you're doing, because sometimes you don't even have to make like a very big effort for you to just, you know, get an idea. Sometimes only giving yourself some distance, you know, from something, and then you come back, like automatically you just, you know, you have a fresh perspective, and you know what to do or how to fix the problem, whatever it is. So yeah, I think that's that. So anyways, bye.